Hi, I'm Ashot. I call this episode Inner Fire. I love this moment. You're completely unable to catch the moment of transition as if into another reality. Just a couple of seconds ago, you were being pressed into a comfortable seat, accelerating at crazy speed down the runway. In the window, you saw the airport building, parked planes, service vehicles, and all this was completely normal and familiar. And then your plane, first raising its nose, slowly lifts off the ground and its heavy body, and boom! This miracle always happens. The same parked planes, only in the far part of the airport that you're flying over now, suddenly become like toys in some amazingly realistic airport model. You're flying over the highway, you see the cars, buses, trucks, but their miniature size and relative speed seem to immerse you into some magical cartoon. I always take a window seat because I love observing the world outside, not only during takeoff, but also during the flight. So today, just after taking off, right after my favorite moment of magic, we turned west and slowly floated along the Austrian Alps. I relaxed, examining the mountain peaks, and at some point they began to intertwine with the human autonomic nervous system. I sat up and looked at the row in front of me. There sat a man around 50 years old, slowly and very thoughtfully explaining, apparently to his son, why the autonomic nervous system is completely beyond human will and how it performs all actions independently. You've probably heard all this before and maybe still remember that humans have a central nervous system consisting of the brain and spinal cord. There is a peripheral nervous system consisting of somatic and autonomic nervous systems. And the autonomic nervous system consists of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And it's called autonomous because it's completely beyond human will and performs all actions independently. Well, right? Let's give it a shot. In the 80s, in the Netherlands, a young man suffered a big misfortune, the death of his beloved woman. At a young age, she committed suicide due to the depression. He was left with 4 children, and so he survived this pain of loss and loneliness and raised the children. He had to find a way, and he found it. And today, this great man has set 26 world records, and his name is Wim Hof. In 2002, he dove under the ice at the North Pole for 80 meters and earned a Guinness record for the longest time on the ice. In 2007, he climbed Everest in just shorts above the death zone at 7,500 meters. And in 2009, Hof again in shorts ran a marathon above the Arctic Circle in Finland at minus 20 degrees. I have the honor of knowing Wim personally since February 2019, and since that very day, I've been using his method daily. I changed my thinking, turned breathing into a personal doctor, and cold into my best friend. Wim Hof's main achievement, in my opinion, is proving that the autonomic nervous system is actually subject to human will and capable of performing actions dictated by his thoughts and emotions. I'm happy to share with you the essence of the so-called Wim Hof method. I just ask you to do everything wisely, having studied it thoroughly beforehand. So, there are 3 components: thinking, breathing, cold. Thinking. It is conscious concentration of attention, meditation, and correct thinking that affect the autonomic nervous system, and it then works its miracles. One powerful example is the conscious conviction that cold is not an enemy to be somehow endured while icy water is pouring over you, but on the contrary, your faithful friend and a friend forever until death. Then The autonomic nervous system, reacting already to a friend, reduces the sensitivity of temperature sensors on the skin, and suddenly the icy water pouring over you feels quite pleasant. Another example, standing neck deep in an alpine mountain river with a water temperature of 0. You consciously concentrate on the inner fireball blazing in your chest, and the autonomic nervous system raises your body temperature using brown fat, preventing you from freezing. That's it about thinking. Now breathing. We're taking 30 powerful deep inhalations with natural, non-forced exhalations, after which there's one big and full exhalation and breath holding. We try to start breathing again as late as possible when it's really unbearable. Now all this is done for 2 more cycles. Such breathing truly works wonders. Toxic carbon dioxide in the blood decreases and oxygen simultaneously increases, causing the blood pH to rise. The body changes from acidic to alkaline and immediately becomes an undesirable place of residence for viruses, bacteria, and fungi, which are anaerobic and therefore don't survive in an alkaline environment. In parallel, there's a massive and very noticeable relaxation of all organs, muscles, and tissues, and the release of correct portions of adrenaline, giving euphoria and peace. That's it about breathing. Now cold. Personally, it sometimes seems to me that decent cold shocks the body so much that it, 1, decides that you're dead, 2, according to a certain program of the autonomic nervous system, it performs a soft shutdown before death, bringing all systems into balance, and 3, thus calms the very active sympathetic system, which previously drove you into stress and fight for survival, and instead activates the previously dormant parasympathetic system, which will now calm you, relax you, and restore you. The amazing beneficial side effects of such balancing are improved metabolism, activation of growth hormones and testosterone, release of happiness hormones, endorphin and dopamine, increase of brown fat, reduction of inflammatory processes, strengthening of the immune system, and much, much more. So the doctor on the plane wasn't quite right. Even automatisms in the human body change according to his will. My inner fire is always with me. And Wim Hof's contribution to the health of the soul and body of modern man in the digital age is simply priceless.